Hi! So last year I bought my first PSP ever and I made a video about it. And it got a little attention. I only had like a couple thousand subs and a handful of videos at the time, so it was a smidge overwhelming, especially when I got comment after comment telling me I was a big stupid goober for not buying a PS Vita instead. Even though I made it pretty clear within the first 30 seconds why I bought a PSP, but I digress. Well, fast forward to now, after months of being a petty contrarian and refusing to buy one because you can't make me, and I finally felt like it was time to add a PS Vita to my collection. Not because I don't like my PSP anymore, actually I'm pretty attached to it, but because I just like collecting this stuff in general, so it was bound to happen at some point. So today I'm going to unbox a PS Vita, make it look all cute and stuff because my every molecule is fueled by the joy and whimsy of a good sticker sheet, and also install custom firmware and find a few games for it. And I'll also give a few thoughts about what I think about the Vita versus the PSP as well. So yeah, with that said, take it away, Unboxing Youth. Hi, this is Unboxing Youth, hi. So I'm gonna pretty much be doing all of this one-handed thanks to a really tragic and not embarrassing roller skating accident that broke my wrist. Thankfully, with the magic of editing, I can make this process seem much more speedy than it actually was, but yeah, it's still gonna look pretty awkward no matter what. It's fine though, we keep trucking or whatever. Anyway, I got this Vita from eBay because I wanted a pink and white one, and at the time that's where I was able to find one in what seemed like pretty good condition from the pictures. However, when I opened it up, it was definitely dirtier and more scuffed up than I expected. I initially thought there was some gunk on the screen, but it seems to be a bit of damage actually. It was pretty dirty in between these areas here and pretty scuffed up on the back, so kinda unfortunate. eBay continues to disappoint me. I tried to clean it as best as I could, but the back area was still pretty scuffed up, but the stickers I got for it will cover up a lot of the scuffs at least, so it's not that big a deal. These are the stickers which I got off Etsy, and I'll link them in the description if they're still there because I love them. And I also got a ghost charm off Etsy, a clear case, and ghost and skull themed thumbstick grips. That took me a couple tries to say, don't worry about it, which I got from Amazon, and of course a micro SD card and a memory stick adapter for it. As you can see, I decided on a cute ghost Halloween kind of theme solely because the thumbstick grips were really cute and were the first thing I bought, and I based everything else around that. The stickers were a really good size, so like I said, they cover up a lot of the flaws on the back, and also they're really good quality, so shout out to the Etsy seller. I'll definitely be checking out their shop again to see what else they've got. I kinda goofed up the placement a smidge, but it's fine, I guess, still super cute. Next I put on the case and grabbed these Batwing stickers from the sheet and put them on either side of the Vita logo, and I kinda think I cooked with that actually, so let me know what you think. And here's how it looks with everything, and I think it turned out really cute even if the Vita wasn't in quite the condition I thought it would be. Now it was time to do the whole custom firmware thingy. Going into this, I knew legitimately nothing about the PS Vita, so the biggest surprise for me when I was getting the console set up was that it has a touchscreen. Like I turned it on and was confused for a minute in spite of the startup screen literally telling me what to do because it just did not compute for some reason that it has a touchscreen. I was like, no way this thing has one, it's too old. Meanwhile, the DS existed years before the Vita, whatever, time is fake. I'm not gonna lie, like, as much as I love the PSP, the Vita right away was super cool to me. Like, come on, look at this and tell me it's not epic. Or I mean, maybe I'm just really easily impressed, that's possible too. Anyway, I popped the memory stick in, and spoiler alert, I'm gonna have to mess with that later because turns out it's not as easy as just putting it in and calling it a day. But what was easy was installing the custom firmware, which you can do right on the Vita without even needing to mess with anything on your computer. You install everything you need from the Vita's internet browser, which was like, whoa. Like the whole thing was finished in a couple minutes flat, and I had to double check like, that's it? It's that easy? Yeah, it is. So I was like, alright, cool, time to download a theme and some games and stuff. I searched for a minute for a theme that I thought would fit how I decorated the console, but I couldn't find anything that suited it super well. In the end though, I went with this purple Pochaco theme, and for funsies, I used the Squid Game wallpaper for my start screen because I have a teeny tiny obsession. It's a small one. As for the games, this was where I ran into my first and really my only issue. Every time I tried to download a game, I got an error message, and when I googled it, it seemed there were a bunch of different answers as to what it could be. Eventually, I realized that the issue was with the memory stick. Like I said, turns out you don't just pop it in and that's it. Because you're using an SD card with a memory stick adapter, you've got to go through a bit of a process to get it to work, which thankfully there was a guide I could follow to get it all sorted out, so I'll link that in the description in case anyone else needs help with it like I did. It's not a long process, but there's still a fair bit of steps involved, and I'll definitely mess it up if I try and explain it, so yeah, just read the guide. But yeah, that was legitimately the only issue, and it didn't even take long to fix. Low-key, I'm kind of a big fan of how easy this whole thing was. As for the games I got, thanks to basically only having one hand for a bit, I was pretty limited in my options. But thankfully the Vita does have a fair selection of visual novels, even if the majority of options are in Japanese. There's still a good amount in English, and at some point I'll try learning how to install English patches for some of the Japanese ones. Clanad, my beloved. So for now, I installed Danganronpa, which I've never played before, as well as Persona 4 Golden, which is criminal as it is. I've never played a Persona game, so I figured I'd give it a shot finally. I also got Steins Gate, which I tried playing a long time ago on PC, but messed up the choices for the route I was going for, if I'm remembering correctly, so I gave up. And lastly, not a visual novel, but I got Grim Fandango, which I wanted to play for a while, so I'm excited to try that too. When I can play more kinds of games, I'm really excited for Little Big Planet and Fat Princess in particular, so hopefully that's not too far off, but at least I'll be busy until then. So I want to kind of give a few thoughts here, since if you're a subscriber, there's a good chance you've seen the PSP video, and you probably want to know what I think of the Vita in comparison. Right off the bat, as far as aesthetics, I think the Vita looks better than the PSP as far as my personal taste goes. Something about the Vita just looks cuter. Like, the PSP definitely has a very distinct early 2000s look, which is more cool, clunky, and metallic, whereas the Vita looks really shiny and sleek and pretty in comparison, and I also prefer the dual colors on my Vita shell, in this case white on the front and pink on the back, as opposed to the all-over color on my PSP. That's not to say the PSP looks bad to me at all, it's just a really different vibe and I have a small preference. A point I've seen brought up a lot in favor of the PSP is that it's more comfortable to play on, and though I can't say with full confidence one way or the other since I cannot hold my Vita properly right now, I feel like I can tell the PSP will be more comfortable for me personally in the end based on the size of my hands, which is part of the reason I even got an original 3DS versus a 3DS XL. But one thing I will say is the analog sticks on the Vita are way better than the analog stick on the PSP, which I always thought was really funky. Obviously, the Vita is more modern and has more features than the PSP, like a built-in camera, touchscreen, and a better screen at that. And of course, it's just more powerful overall and can also do everything a PSP can do, but, you know, better, including emulate games from other non-Sony consoles like Game Boy, and play not only PSP and PS1 games, but, you know, PS Vita games too. Overall, I will admit the PS Vita is superior in almost every way and is probably what you should buy if you only ever intend on getting one or the other, but I can't let go of the soft spot I have for the PSP, so I'm still happy I bought one, and I think it's still a really awesome console in its own right. And that's the nice thing about being a collector, since I have both and can alternate between them depending on my mood. But yeah, thank you for watching, and a big thank you to my patrons for the support. If you'd like to support the channel, liking and subscribing helps a ton, and if you're feeling a little extra cool, I'll leave a link to the Patreon in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye!